cars that are making cars inefficient. Yep, that are making cars a little bit more inefficient, right? But then the huge kind of piece that kind of turned into what we know as Earth Day is the oil spill that off of the coast of Santa Barbara. So I'm not sure if you all are familiar with that. I know that UC Santa Barbara, because this was affecting their college campus at that time, they did a large amount of student advocacy work and kind of also helped with those efforts around the environmental impacts of that oil spill off of Santa Barbara. But by the end of this particular year, there was a large variety of different environmental policies as well as the agency. So if you're familiar with the EPA, that was also the year that the EPA was born, as well as, again, a variety of different laws. The Clean Air Act was one of those that kind of started as the, kind of arose from that oil spill and the gas. By 1990, there was another campaign that was mobilizing during Earth Day. And so during this time, Earth Day has became a lot more globally recognized. We had 141 countries that were engaged in this new campaign, which was recycling. And so we're probably all familiar about that movement and that kind of push to really take advantage of recycling and the impacts that that goes into recycling versus not recycling. As we move on to 2000, there was another big campaign around Earth Day, and this is where the mobilization of global warming started. So there was a lot of different aspects of really trying to educate those of global warming and clean energy. By this time, Earth Day was also being even more recognized globally. It went from 141 countries to 184 countries that participated in this movement. And then you have today. So today there's 191 countries that participate in Earth Day, and at least on the college and young adult in youth kind of realm, a lot of college students throughout the state and the nation are really working to make the public aware of different types of environmental impacts, one of them being tobacco and e-cigarette waste. So as we are transforming or transitioning into e-cigarettes, there is probably a question of why are we focusing on Earth Day when it comes to vape waste and e-cigarette use. And so one of the main things that we probably are all aware of is that e-cigarettes are really in for youth and young adult people. So there has been a large evolution of e-cigarettes that are seen on middle school, high school, and even college campuses. The fact that they are coming into various flavors, there are candy flavors, there's flavors like apple pie, just different flavors that our young people are used to and are and can recognize. And so on top of those flavors and the fact that some of these pods and different types of vaping devices are looking a lot more chic, have a lot more friendly, colorful colors, it really is making it a area where a lot of young people are enticed to either try these products or continue the use. In addition to that, the pods as well as the vape devices itself are fairly cheap and very easily accessible. So that also kind of contributes to this. We do have listed here some popular vape brands. So you have Puff Bars, Highball, Juul is another very common vape brand, Flum, and then you have the Elf Bar. But feel free to put on the chat if there's any other vape products out there that you have seen in the field that is kind of growing into popularity that you have seen on the field. So feel free to add that there. And then kind of moving on to why this is a environmental problem, right? So as these vape devices are growing into popularity, we are definitely seeing an increased use of single-use plastics that are accumulating throughout the environment. And again, it's extremely concerning. So in case you're also kind of wondering another example or a common example of single plastic use, um, the common one that I found out was with straws, right? And so I didn't know that straws were also being detrimental to our planet until, fun fact, I went to SeaWorld several years ago and was asking for a straw. And they were the ones that actually told me of some of the detrimental impacts that single plastic use like straws are doing to the animals in that kind of situation. So that's just an example of what single plastic use is. And then when it comes to our vaping devices, every component of this or vaping devices are incorporating plastic use, electronic use, as well as hazard use. And so um, when it comes to plastic waste, the vaping device body itself, as well as the pod or cartridge components, are going to be made of plastic, and it's not biodegradable like other materials. So again, if you want to kind of compare and contrast, think of that straw, that plastic straw. And then you have electronic waste. And so most of our, especially our disposable vaping devices, have a lithium ion battery that is what's used to power up these vaping devices. And so when they're improperly disposed, these batteries have a tendency to leak chemicals into the soil, our waterways, and our wildlife. And then the last kind of component is the hazardous waste. So as you know, this e-liquid, or known for some people as e-juice, really contains nicotine that is listed as a hazardous waste. And the e-liquid also is component and consists of other chemicals that can also pollute the soil, waterways, and wildlife, and even, different types of life here in the environment. So over 1 billion pieces of vape waste is actually created each year due to this problem that we have of these vaping devices being disposable, and the single plastic use that is really what makes these vaping devices or e-cigarettes what they are. And so this kind of goes to what we're here for and what CYN is here to help provide you support. And then as you're thinking about any events on Earth Day, or if you're also kind of wondering what type of theme that you want to do for Earth Day on your college and university campuses, we have done a good job to provide you all with this toolkit, as well as some other educational resources that is available for you during your events, either now and beyond. So even if you're thinking about doing a different type of event down the line this year, or let's say you want to start kind of brainstorming about what Earth Day might look like next year for your college or university campus. So the first thing we have available is, again, the toolkit itself. And so what this does is really provide a little bit more in-depth information about vape waste and also the farming cycle of tobacco. So with our theme now kind of being with e-cigarette and vape waste, there are other types of ways that tobacco is impacting our environment. And so this toolkit will provide you a lot more highlights and in depth about that farming cycle, from the time tobacco gets into the ground to the time it's being harvested and distributed and manufactured and so forth, what type of detrimental effects it has on our environment. The next piece that we have is key messages, right? So these key messages are a great tool to use on any of your social media campaigns. For instance, if you're doing any tabling events at your college and university campus, and also a great way if you're working on student advocacy, or let's say you're also working on creating some legislation visits, you can utilize these key messages in any shape, way, or form. All of these resources are going to be available to you online. So In case you're wondering where these are located, they're going to be located on our online website. And then the third thing is our social media campaign. And so with the huge help of Caitlin and some other folks, we were able to kind of revamp our social media campaign for Earth Day. And so we have several pieces of social media content that you can use to really broaden your reach and sharing information about tobacco and vape waste impact on the environment. I'm all for social media. I think social media is one of the most powerful tools to really reach youth and young adults, especially in this generation. So definitely you're definitely able to utilize these social media images for each of your channels as well. So this right here is just a screenshot of our Earth Day toolkit that again is found on our website. And so I'll drop the link of this website in a little bit, just for folks to kind of get a direct link to where these educational resources are available. Right here is a just another, again, photo of what our key messages look like on for Earth Day. That's also found on our website. So again, these key messages are going to be a great way for you to kind of help with that educational speak or advocacy, or however you want to design your Earth Day event. You can utilize these key messages as a theme or just another way for another reach. And then we have our fantastic social media posts. So there's about 6 to 7 of these posts. Again, they're all available on our website, but these are just kind of like a highlight of what those posts look like. And so you can, again, utilize these in any shape, way, or form. Another piece that I didn't that I forgot to highlight is that there is another kind of poster-like educational material that we also have that's going to be available for you. So in case you are looking to kind of make this a poster board where you can tack on into any of the campus areas that you're at, this is also going to be something that's available for you too. So I'll pause here and see if there are any questions. Oh, and Caitlin also has put those Earth Day materials on the chat for you also to get direct access to. So thank you, Caitlin. But any questions so far? Okay. So with that being said, we're going to, oh, I think there is a question. Oh, no, not a question. Okay. So this is where we're gonna pause. I didn't realize how soon we came up to the 10-minute roundtable discussion, but it's okay. I didn't want to talk as much. I wanted to really have this space be an opportunity for y'all to kind of get your questions answered, really discuss and brainstorm some event ideas for folks in the field. So again, we're just gonna pause here and have you all kind of discuss any event brainstorm ideas that you found out to work on your campus, or if there's any questions related to your event that you want a little bit more feedback or support on. So before I stop the share, these are a couple of questions that, in case we want to get the conversation flowing. Well, these are, again, the 3 questions. So the one is, what are the needs of your campus community? Which type of the Earth Day event could you host that will assist in the needs of your campus community? And then what kind of support will you need in order to make your Earth Day event successful? So from here, I'm just gonna pause and stop sharing and then provide it to a space where you all have the ability to kind of just share, whether that's through the chat or just raising your hand and being called upon, and we can verbally kind of have a roundtable discussion. Okay, So we
So
have one person that raised their hand. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Crandallin, before we jump into the roundtable, there are 2 questions about the materials you shared. The first is from Liberty, and it says, do we have to get permission from CTCP to use the media post?
I don't believe you do. Caitlin, is that correct?
Yeah, so those are actually created by myself. So they're CYAN created materials. We are funded by CTCP, but they are materials we've created in-house. And those are free for public download and distribution. And you can catch those through the links. And then the second question there is from Karen, and it says, how could we cite any digital media when we share on our page?
Yeah, so how you are able to cite that is completely under your discretion. Again, you have the key messages to also help with that citing, but in case you're wondering in terms of how to cite the organization or person that made that, well, you can feel free to tag us. We are on Facebook and we're on Instagram in case you want to cite in that way of CYN. And I can also drop on the link the IG handles for our IG and Facebook accounts. So in case you wanted to cite them that way, feel free, or you can cite it through your caption, but how you want to do that is completely under your discretion.
And then if I can just kind of piggyback what Crandallin said, Karen, typically, so this is Caitlin here, I post all of our social media messages across platforms. So most likely what I'll be doing is just pulling a fact from the key messages document that was created and pairing that with one of the images. And I do also like to always link that to a resource. So I would suggest putting something, if you have a campus page or a campus health center that has cessation material saying, if you'd like to learn more or would like, for your anonymous support to quit disposable vape products, visit XYZ, or you can link out to a website that's campus specific. And then I would also encourage putting a hashtag for your campus. So if it's, your community college name or your campus name with Earth Day, something to brand it and tie it back to some type of campus-wide quit resource. I always link back to our CYA and Quit Vaping page, which you are welcome to link as well. And I'm going to start promoting some of our Earth Day materials beginning this week. So if you'd like to see an example of kind of how I put that together, you'd be able to see that on our Instagram and also on our Facebook. So hopefully that answered your question, Karen.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna just see if there's any more questions.
And we do have one hand raised, yes.
Yes, yes. So we do have one hand raised by Vera. So Vera, I'm going to allow you to talk. There you go. So you should be able to speak.
Hi, yeah, can you restate the question again, just so I have it clear?
Yes, so this, one of the questions or one of the 3 questions that we have proposed is, what are some of the needs of your campus community? Which type of Earth Day event could you host that will help with that needs based on your campus community? Or what type of support, whether that's through us at CYN or through other partners on the field that's on the call, that will help you to support you on your Earth Day event.
Got you. Okay, great. So I kind of jumped to the second one. Is that okay?
Yes, no worries. Yeah, you don't have to go in order.
Great, no problem. So I'm part of Truth Initiative. I work with Truth Initiative. I'm part of the college program. So we provide grants to different schools, colleges to implement a 100% tobacco vape-free policy on their campus. So we deal a lot with the college students and trying to create events centered around mental health or the environment. And the environment one is always a little more trickier for folks because they just, I think we don't have enough ideas for them virtually, especially with COVID. Like it, like finding like virtual engagement tied to environment was really difficult. But the most popular one that people enjoyed doing was like doing a cigarette cleanup on their campus. That's the most popular. Another one is like an Earth Day trivia event type related activity. And then like a group hike, like that is always a good way to like start the conversation about the environment while also doing like a mental health activity like a hike.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. And and quick question, were you doing this before the pandemic or during the pandemic? Or was those events something that can be used outside the pandemic or, in person or via virtually? Just in
So
case there's
a lot of the different colleges have like different protocols with COVID. So some of them are still like not really fully on campus, some are. So the ones that are fully on campus, they're able to do like the hikes, the campus cleanup and things like that. But the remaining have to like kind of stick to the virtual types of events.
Perfect. Okay, thank you for sharing. Does anybody else have any Earth Day events similar to Vera that worked for their campus, or maybe they need a little more assistance on how to get that going? How can we support you on it as well? Okay, we have Miriam here.
Everybody can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, so I'm Miriam Quintero, and always I refer my area that since we have a small area, the educational department. So we are gonna have our date. It's gonna be April 23rd. And now I make a coalition with the environmental department, so that way we will be able not only to share information about tobacco to some of the students that we have, but also we will be able to share with them about the proper wasting of the tobacco. So I'm still working in a little kind of presentation or maybe a flyer that I will be distribute during that event. And also I try to do a little cleanup, but the cleanup I will be doing in a separate on April 28th. So I will be focused on the 23rd, used to provide to them like some elements like education, distribute educational materials, and then invite the community to participate and clean up a field that we did the last year. And even though we were during the pandemic, I was able to share with everybody how it's important to, to have signings in areas like our field that we have, and how everybody can cooperate and contribute. So I have a good one last year, and I hope this year it's going to be 2. So far, they approved to have those events. So, and with the support of Cyan, last year I was able to distribute in 4 different tribes, educational departments, some of the bags that they sent me, and I hope this year I can continue having your support, because it's really important to let it know to the community that it's not only the tobacco program that is working, it's also our colleges that are around us. It's a little bit far from the tribal community. A college, their name is Palomar, but I hope one of them they can come over and see how we start working in this small educational department.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing that you're able to really mobilize the community like that. And it seems like you're having 2 different events in your community for Earth Day. So that's really amazing, the fact that you're able to really take advantage of the Earth Day month and provide different types of activities that can get the community involved, as well as help with the education on some of the environmental impacts of tobacco with the cleanup. But like you mentioned before, utilizing that cleanup, you're able to also kind of take notes of the hot spots and where there might be any more signage available, to really kind of reduce the number of products or waste that you see there. But at the same time, you're also educating folks on potentially quitting if they are using, or also prevention as well. So
Yes.
yeah, good. Yes.
Officially, it's those two events. 23rd, I will be start having, tomorrow we'll be making the decision of what adopted like kind of educational materials I want to distribute the day in the 23rd and on the 28th. But it's another, the third one, it's I received a phone call today from NER, a reservation that probably 7 miles from us, that they hearing about that I've been doing this one with educational department, and they are planning to invite me to have a little booth or cultural activity in April 30th. So this community is they call the La Jolla Tribe. And I hope so I will be able to, one of, if I receive the support of your group, those baggies, I hope I can be able to distribute it, give it to them and let them know them, or education departments, we can work together and have a change in our community, or little by little. Since I started last year, I've been growing, and I hope that community also start getting together, and because they have a camping ground, and we did a cleanup last year with them, and we can show to our community that really we need a support, but also as a community, we are willing to work together and have in the future, I hope at the next year, my community can have a signage with their support by showing to them that these activities that are really important in our community is getting involved. That's my principal point to show to them.
Yeah, and again, let us know how we can support you in that as well, Miriam.
Always appreciate to your group, because I joined to this group last year, and always I've been receiving support from previous coordinators that you guys have, and always I feel free to contacting you. And most of my educational materials, always I try to adapt what you guys have posting in your web page, like education, or when I need to do statistics. Most of the time, you guys are my first resource. And the reason that I've been doing that is because I noticed that the information that you are being posting, it's more focused in our young people. And I want to my youth people, they can feel like, these words, or the way that you guys posting the education materials is in the way that I will continue passing through the information. I've been seeing another resources, but I feel that you group, it's always having the words that is addressing to our new generation that I'm working with from 13 to 18 or 26, the range age, and science has that. So I've been comparing, and I love it. I love all the educational materials that you always provide. So thank you very much. Thank you to Cyan Group that I know that are working behind on the scenes, but I appreciate that always you guys posted those information that I hope everybody can take advantage of that in printing and distributing.
Yes, thank you, Miriam, so much.
And we do have a
go
couple
ahead.
more questions, Crandallin. This is Caitlin.
Yes.
So we've got one from Karen, and this I think will probably be a follow-up for you and Alex, asking if you have a contact person at Trinity or Shasta Karen's had some difficulty reaching the correct person there.
Yeah, so I definitely have to follow up with you, Karen. So actually I'll put my email in the chat and I'll follow up with you to see if we do have a contact person. I think there's somebody that's working with Shasta College right now that just recently started working with them. So I'll put you, I'll verify and then I'll send you some correspondence with that.
Awesome. Some great networking there.
Yes.
And then the next question in the chat here is from Dulce, asking any resources on tobacco, cigarette butts, or secondhand smoke and how we can frame the message to Earth Day.
Yeah, so there's some resources again in our toolkit about different types of activities that you can do for Earth Day. And then we also have a couple of resources on that toolkit that you can utilize, as well as on our website. One of the things that we also have on the toolkit is just different areas to kind of do a sign up for the tobacco cigarette butt cleanup or the pod cleanup, because there are a lot of, for e-cigarette use, a lot of pods that are being found throughout different areas of campus, whether that's high school campus, college campus, and so forth. And so we had some information about that process that's on our website. But any additional resources and how you can frame that, definitely utilizing our key messages that we have that, because our key messages also include ways to really educate on secondhand smoke and the impact that it has on different areas, us and, for example, pets, for instance. So yes, we do have those resources on our website and in the toolkit, but I am going to open it up to my colleagues to see if they have anything additional that they want to share regarding that.
Yeah, so I can hop in a little bit. So Dulce, this is Caitlin. I work on all of our resource development and creation. And I really appreciate that call out, Miriam, about our materials really speaking to youth. We field test and consumer test all of our materials and do focus groups with young people throughout the state, age 13 to 25. So they are, we have full youth input on those. So it's great to hear that that's translating. And then specifically, Dulce, regarding kind of the tie in there with cigarette butts and secondhand smoke. We do have a fact sheet for the field that we created as part of Earth Day last year that specifically ties the impact of tobacco to the environment. So it talks about the curing process and the manufacturing and production, and has really great statistics. And that's on our website under the fact sheet header, and that's free for download. And again, that was something we did as part of Earth Day last year. And then with regard to secondhand smoke, I would actually suggest taking a peek at our Instagram. We just did our youth event, which is called Youth Quest, and they also framed the event around the impact of tobacco and the environment. And we have key messages specifically around secondhand smoke and airborne toxins from tobacco and nicotine products. So if you wanted to take a peek, we have social media around that related to EarthQuest that has some facts on secondhand smoke, as well as a fact sheet that has California specific and nationwide specific facts around secondhand smoke and tobacco. And those, I think, would be two really helpful resources to frame that. And then you do have one more question, Crandallin, and this might be kind of helpful for other folks to chime in and really resource share around that who are participating. And this is from Graciela, and it says, does anyone know of grants or assistance programs that can help pay for signage? Our county is considering a smoke-free parks policy, which is very exciting, and they have some funding concerns. So this might be, again, something great to open up to maybe other local folks near Graciela or folks who have some suggestions as well.
Yeah, so I can't think of anything off the top of my head that's outside of the colleges on grants. I know the Truth Initiative had a recent grant that just passed a couple months ago that I knew of. But like Caitlin mentioned, this is also a great way to, if you do know any resources available, to really put that in the chat to help. Graciela's question, yeah, because right now I can't think of anything off the top of my head that can that is available and open for that. And then also feel free that if you, again, if you want to come off of chat and kind of ask any questions, or let's say you want to answer some of the questions that were in the chat verbally, because that's a little bit easier, feel free to raise your hand, and then we will, and then you'll be able to kind of share your question or comment or just some feedback to help support others that are really working on creating that student engagement piece when it comes to kind of Earth Day, and kind of making sure that their Earth Day objectives are being met. So I'm looking and see if there's anybody who wants to share. Oh, okay, we have a couple. So I think it's April. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name. And feel free to also let us know where you're coming from as well.
Hi.
Hi.
Actually, it's Lourdes, not April.
Oh,
I'm
okay. Okay. Oh my God.
April is my supervisor, and I think she's also
Oh, okay.
in this meeting, but my name is Lourdes. I'm with the Tobacco Education and Prevention Program at the City of Long Beach. Just wanted to share to the question that you asked earlier, what are some events that we're planning around the issue of Earth Day. So it's not so much on Earth Day, but one of the things that we're currently doing, we're in the transition of starting our leadership program. And one of the components, or one of the sessions within the leadership program, is tobacco product waste and the environment. And for that specific session, we have planned, the way we've planned it out was to start off with a session or a presentation on tobacco product waste. Definitely, I'm going to be sharing some of the resources on CYAN's website, fact sheets, and what have you. So we'll start off with that. Eventually, that's going to lead into an actual cleanup that the students will be engaging. And then after the cleanup, one of the activities that I had in mind for them is because aside from them learning different topics, they're also learning a skill, and this skill, it has to do with digital media, whether it is to create essays, whether it is to create anything that has to do with digital media. And we have an agency that's coming in and doing that training for us. So after the students will be done with the cleanup, the idea is for them to gather in groups and somehow use their digital media skills that they're learning to create some sort of whether it's a campaign or whether it's a short video on tobacco product waste.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's kind of the plan. And then also I've been in great connections with Ignacio. Ignacio and I are buddies now, I can officially say. So he will definitely be coming in to do a training for our youth on social justice and advocacy. So he'll be the first speaker for our leadership program that's going to be starting up on June 29th. So I'm really excited for that as well. And yeah, that's how we're utilizing CYN and the resources.
Yeah, that's like amazing. That's like exciting also. Like the fact that you're pairing that, the education and tobacco waste and vape waste, to also something that is also kind of like professional development when it comes to the digital media. So students are getting becoming little mini advocates, but also learning the tools to also continue to broaden their media into other different spaces as well. So that's really exciting.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, I think we have another. And then Miriam, before you share, I just wanted to also kind of put on the chat that Caitlin has been dropping some PDFs of the key messages that we mentioned in the PowerPoint presentation. So feel free to download those. It's another, and those actually are key messages from the Youth Quest that was actually, so sorry for that. But yes, those are key messages around secondhand smoke. That was from our Youth Quest event that was about a month ago that you can also utilize as well. All right, go ahead, Miriam.
It's that what I would be want to share with everybody that during the Youth Quest, Cyan, they posted a very good brochure that I don't have right now in my hands because I know in the office, but that brochure, they give us to us all the elements that we can share during these events or the, and it's just printed out, and it's what I've been doing and just distribute it. So it's just very good because they have already data and they have the range, and also they give it to us that what you mentioned, the key messages. And this year I use participants 11 youth in my community. So I will be using them again this time and asking to help me to talk to by in person, besides only to give away that brochure. Also, they focus on those 3 key messages that we have over there by selecting one. And the last event, I wanted to incorporate a little cultural activity. So by asking a few questions about the brochure, and also by giving to them, say, the survey. I want to use a survey with a few questions and evaluate how it's this brochure helping to them. And I will be using again the data collecting that last year you guys posted. It's really, really useful to how we can track our area and how many items we find it in the ground. So I will using the same format.
Yeah, okay, perfect. I'm glad that you're still using that because, again, the cleanups are also a great way to, again, be knowledgeable of where some of those hot spots are, but you can actually take that information and then further use that for more advocacy, more of educational sense, and also in case I don't some people were asking about signage, that's also another great way that using that cleanup data to really track where those hotspots are and create solutions such as some signage, right? So super glad that you're utilizing those tools and that they're being extremely helpful for you. Because like Caitlin mentioned, we really try to be intentional with our messaging, really intentional on some of the resources and the tools that you all may need out in the field. So the fact that we're getting a lot of positive feedback on those tools and those resources really help us to maintain making intentional messaging, making intentional tools for you all.
Yep.
All right. And we're at the 10-minute mark. So if there's any last questions or anybody wants to chime in, please do so. All right. And so I'll share my contact information. Feel free for folks, if you do want to ask a question or chime in, please do so. I do want to just share my contact information for you all. There we go. So yeah, I just wanted to provide, again, my contact information. If you have any additional questions that come up for you, or any of your partners or any of your students on campus, feel free to please email me, and I'll be really helpful and help you out there. I also wanted to provide you all with the CYN website, and again, the CYN website has all of the educational materials as well as the toolkit that is available right now for you all. So we are launching that all this week for you all to take advantage of. And then we have a college resource website as well. And some of those educational materials for Earth Day is going to be available, as well as additional ones. So I know I keep mentioning Earth Day, but we do have fact sheets. We have other educational materials that can be mailed out to you all. We have different types of other trainings coming up the chain soon. And then for our college's website, there's also a lot of information about policy adoption, implementation, and compliance, as well as like student engagement for that as well. So I think we had somebody in the chat.
Yeah, so
Oh, yes.
Veronica was asking if the social media posts are available. And I was actually just typing that those are available. They are listed on our website, both on the main landing page. If you scroll down to what's new, that links you out to all of the Earth Day materials, as well as the new material that was created about single-use plastics and disposable vape waste. And you are welcome to start posting those now. There's 6 posts that were created, and those are available to you now.
Perfect. Yes, I was just about to say the same thing. So yes, everything that we mentioned is available for you as well. There's, again, some additional Earth Day materials that I did not highlight that's also available for you all to utilize as flyers, as a poster, and etc. So again, this webinar is just like kind of, again, giving you an opportunity to learn a little bit more about Earth Day, some of the key components of vape waste that you can utilize at your campus events, again, beyond Earth Day. And then also the main point was just to really provide a space for you all to just share out what's going on, what events you're having, and again, how can CYN or other partners on the call and in the field can help support you all. So I think I'll stop the share again. I think there's a couple more things that I saw in the chat, but if there aren't any more questions again, or if anybody wants to speak, oh, go ahead, Caitlin.
You've got 2 more quick questions here.
Oh, yes.
Okay, let's see here. So if we requested materials, do you know when we will be receiving them, or how long it will take for us to receive them?
Yes. So if you requested Earth Day materials specifically for this month, they were already shipped last week. So shout out to Alex and Jocelyn for helping me out with packing those together. So those have been shipped. There were a couple of other registrants that submitted their registration on Friday, and so those are currently being packed and will be shipped out later on today, if not early tomorrow. So you should be receiving them in the next kind of, I would say, 3 to 5 business days. It honestly just depends on the post office, but those are definitely been shipped out. For the additional materials out in our store, so we have our own like CYN store. Those materials are going to be filtered out in a different way, but they typically go out in a very quick turnaround process as well for that. So we try to make sure that things are going in a timely manner, because we know that you all are using those for students and out in the field. Caitlin, any other questions that I might have overlooked?
No, we are all set. It looks like, Danica, you have a very amazing and keen eye, because we missed this. So I appreciate you catching that. When you do click on those key messages for 2022, the title still says 2021. I think that was my mistake, actually. So I apologize. Thank you for catching that. If there is any confusion, just know that that is the correct document. And again, you're welcome to access that and use that. That is correct in spite of the year saying 2021.
Yes, thank you for catching that. I also didn't realize it. So yes, thank you for your great eye for sure. And again, my email is crandallin@cyn.org. So please feel free to email me with any additional questions or support. I hope this webinar has been extremely helpful for you all, and at least giving you a space to, really kind of get your ideas flowing. And with that being said, we hope that you have a great rest of your Monday and have a fantastic Earth Day events, however you are creating those. So thank you and have a great rest of the day.